Hey everybody, it's me, it's Undead Viking, coming to another board game video review. Thank you all for tuning in today. The game in question is Coup City State. This is a game for 3 to 6 people, lasts about 15 minutes. This is kind of a filler game. And it is from LaMame Games, which I think this is their only game right now. But if this is the type of game they're going to come out with, I'm really eagerly looking forward to what else they will be making and coming down the pipe. So, obviously, I'm really high on this game. What is it about? The game is a very quick little negotiation, dirty accusation. Try to bluff and counter bluff your way to a win type of game. It's one of those variable player powers type games. If you're familiar with the game Citadels, probably one of the more famous games of that genre, where you have a couple of secret cards in front of you that have abilities that you can use. But the thing about those abilities is that if you don't like the cards that you have in front of you, you can lie and say you have something else. And as long as nobody calls you out on it, you can get away with it. It's kind of like if you played, Liar's Dice, one of the more famous bluffing games where you pretend to have dice that you don't. It's kind of the same thing, where you're pretending, to have powers that you do not. And as long as you're able to, look innocent enough, then nobody will suspect you. And you can fly underneath the radar and hopefully be able to pull off a win. It is a game of player elimination, but you shouldn't really worry about that. Like I said, it's a very quick and dirty game, so even if you do get knocked out, it's nothing really to worry about. But I'm going to show you, as I always do, how to play the game. And once I show that to you, you'll be able to tell... I'll be able to tell you exactly what I think about it, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise because I've already said it's pretty cool. But I'm going to tell you exactly why I think it's cool, and hopefully you'll figure out whether or not it's something you want to add to your collection. So, all right, well, let's let me teach you how to play Coup, or Coup, as my friend Brad calls it. Alright, these are the components to the game of Coup. You have a deck of cards, and you have these plastic chits over here, which are the coins and the money for the game. These aren't the best coins I've ever played with in a game, but they work perfectly well. If you hate the plastic coins, obviously you could replace them with pennies or poker chips or what have you. You also get these player aids to list off all the different actions you can do and all the different things that each type of card that you can have in front of you, what they do as well. So, and this is a nice little player aid, but this is definitely one of those games that after you played it a few times, the game will be second nature, and you won't really have to refer to this anymore. To begin the game, everybody gets 2 cards. I'm going to just deal these out quick. I'm dealing on a 4-player game, but the game can satisfy up to 6 players. So it's kind of nice that, it's like a lot of smaller card games don't have the ability to play a larger number of people. So it's kind of neat that this one does play up to 6. These cards remain face down unless you have to reveal them for some reason. I'm going to turn them over here in just a second because to show you how the game works. But just keep in mind that these are face down. Each person also gets 2 money to begin the game, so you have a little bit of coinage in your treasury. Now I'm just going to turn these over quick. And let's see, we have an ambassador and a duke. We have a contessa and an assassin. A contessa and a captain. And an assassin and another contessa. Alright, so to begin the game, you pick somebody to be the first player. If this is the next game you've played, like you're playing several of these games in a row, and these games run very, very fast, so you probably play this more than once. Whoever won the last game goes first. So let's just say this person won the last game, and they're going to go first. They have an ambassador and a duke in front of them. The ambassador, if you use his power, he allows you to draw 2 coins from the deck in here, draw them off the top, combine them with the other 2 hands in your card, and pick 2 of those 4 cards, put them face down in front of you, and then shuffle up the rest of the deck, and then you put the deck back down. The Duke allows you to take 3 coins from the treasury. And the Duke goes out and makes you money. Those are your actions. So this first player can choose either of those 2 actions and can say, I'm going to, like, he's going to be the Duke, and I'm going to take 3 coins from the treasury. So you take 3 coins, like so. Now, whenever you take an action, and you're saying, I am using a Duke, and I'm taking 3 coins. Anybody else at the table at that point can say, I don't think you have a Duke, show me. And you can challenge that action. Now, in this case, if somebody did that and you had the Duke, what will happen is you show the Duke, you turn it over, and you say, well, see, I have a Duke. And if there was a person that did that, whatever person accused them of not having a Duke, then would lose an influence, which means that one of their cards would be turned face up. Now, in this case, I can't really do that because the cards are all face up. But you turn a card face up, meaning you only had 1 card left in front of you, meaning you only had 1 card that truly would allow you to take an action. And so when you have that, so then you're limited, and also you're in danger of being knocked out, because as soon as you show both of your cards, as soon as you're forced to turn over both the cards in front of you, then you lose and you're out of that round of the game. Now, but let's just, for the sake of example, nobody accused that person of lying about being Duke, and they took their 3 coins, and now they're all pleased with themselves. Now, I should mention that if you don't want to do either of the cards that are in front of you, and you don't want to lie, because you can always lie and say, well, I have a captain. The captain allows you to extort money from somebody. You can steal 2 coins from somebody else. You can lie, obviously, and say you have that. If you don't want to lie and you don't want to use any of the actions that you have available to you, you can just take income, meaning you just take 1 coin out of the bank and put it in front of you. Yay. But that's options always available to you, so you can build up money. You can also say, I'm going to take foreign aid, and that means you can take 2 coins. Now, the thing about, well, you're saying, well, why would you ever take why would you ever take income if you're going to take foreign aid? Well, if you decide to take foreign aid, and somebody has a Duke, they can say, I'm going to block you. I'm going to keep you from taking any money whatsoever. And I have a Duke, and I'm going to do that. Now, once again, at that point, because somebody reacted to you and is saying they have a card, you can turn around, or anybody at the table can turn around and say, I don't think you have a Duke. I don't think you can block his foreign aid. And then once again, you go through the process of showing the card, and if you have it, you show the card, and the person that accused you of not having that card then loses an influence. Now, if you do get accused and you don't have the card, you have to admit that, and you have to turn over one of your own cards because you've been caught in a lie. It also should be noted that if you ever get accused of taking an action that you don't have, you show the card in question, but you don't actually keep that card anymore, because then obviously people have that and you've given away some information. You return that card to the deck, you shuffle up the entire deck, meaning that the card you just lost is put back in there and shuffled up, and then you take the top card off the deck, meaning that it's quite possible that you could get the exact same card that you just discarded. And that's to basically, to limit people doing card counting and being able to make really, really educated guesses as far as that action. So anyway, so we go around to the next player, and they have an assassin and a contessa. Not a lot of options, because the contessa's only action is to block assassinations. That's the only thing that she can do. And the assassin can kill other people, making them lose an influence, meaning they turn 1 card over. But you have to have 3 coins to be able to do so. So this person, I'm going to have 3 coins so I can assassinate somebody next turn. I'm going to take a coin. I'm going to put it in front of me like that. So we get over here and we have the captain and the contessa. Well, the captain said, well, I have a captain, and it allows me to, extort money. Well, this guy's got a ton of money. He says, I'm going to use a captain, and I'm going to take 2 coins. And so they can do that. And this is all going in the idea that nobody's challenging anybody at this point. So now he's taking those 2 coins. If you have a captain, just so you know, like the contessa can block the assassin, a captain's action of extorting can be blocked by another captain. So somebody else can say, I'm blocking that, I have a captain. He can stop that. So we get back over here. We once again have a contestant and assassin. You know, we only have 2 coins. So this person says, I'm going to take 4 and 8. I'm going to take 2 coins. And this person over here with the Duke says, I'm blocking that. I have a Duke. And nobody decides to question it, so we put the 2 coins back into the treasury. So then the play continues. Now that would be a very tame first round of Coup, and most likely that isn't going to happen. Things more and more like sideways glances and accusations are going to happen, but eventually people get knocked out. This person gets knocked out, and this person gets knocked out, and so there's only these 2 people left, and they have a certain number of coins in front of them. Because of this, the Duke's got 6, and this person's got 6 as well, and somehow they've managed to keep the same 2 cards, which is very unlikely as well. But the interesting thing is, once you get enough money, yes, you use money to pay assassins their 3 coins, but once you have 7 coins, or immediately when you have 10, meaning if you start your turn and you have 10 coins, or if you have 7, you can do what's called a coup, which basically just forces somebody to lose influence. So this person would say, oh, I have a Duke and I'm going to take 3 coins, and then this person said, well, now he's going to be able, he's got a ton of money, he's going to be able to launch a coup, and I can't catch up to that, so I'm going to say you don't have a Duke. Well, this person would show that they have a Duke, and so then, you put it back in the deck, and we shuffle up the deck, with that particular Duke that's in there. We turn another one over, we see he gets a captain now. And we get over here, and he had to pick one to get rid of, so, I'll just turn it over, but like I said, normally we face up. Well, the contestant really doesn't help him right now, so he, say, okay, well, there's my 1. We get over here, he's got a captain. He needs money because he's only got 6. I'm going to extort 2 from you. This person says, well, I'm blocking you, because now I have a captain, I can block that. And he says, no way, you didn't get a captain. Show it to me. He shows he has a captain. And then, he has to turn his last card over. And that would make this person the winner. And he basically had to do that because even if he takes the 2 coins, he was going to have 7. He could do a coup and he could take him out anyway. And that's kind of how the game works. So you got to always be cognizant of how many coins each person has. And coins can't be hidden. They have to be in front of everybody. And you have to be kind of always maintain an awareness of what cards have been played, what cards have been said to have been used or said to have been had, and things like that. And the example of gameplay I gave here was just basically to show you the different actions that each person has. But the game is very fast, very furious, and a lot of accusations and yelling and a lot of bluffing and counter bluffing. It's a game that totally plays into my strengths of forcing my will upon other people and being able to lie very well. So, I really, and don't take the wrong way, I mean, games that have a negotiation aspect and being able to convince people that I'm going to do something when I'm actually going to do something else, I always seem to do well in games like that. So, that's one of the reasons why this game is so successful for me. It's just because of the fact that it plays right into my strengths and it plays right in my wheelhouse, if you will. So, but that's how you play a round of Coup. Once you've found the winner, you just shuffle up the cards, deal them out again, and play again. This is a game you play over and over as a good filler to start up the night, or as a great wind down game for after you've just played a long epic game. But there you go. So that's Coup, and let me tell you exactly what I think of it. One of the, well, I guess, I don't know if it's cool or not, but if you don't believe in bagging the plastic coins coming with the game, the Coup box and the plastic coins make for a very good emergency maraca. Alright, that was probably my worst segue ever. Alright, so there you go. That's Coup, and that's how you play Coup. This is a game that as I said in when I was explaining how the game works, it's right in my wheelhouse as far as games that I love. I love, for lack of a better term, I love lying. I mean, there's a reason why I keep playing Battlestar Galactica over and over again and just pray that I get a Cylon, because I just love pretending to be something that I'm not. And this is a game that you have to be able to be convincing. I remember when I was growing up, my grandfather would always, whenever we got $1 or something like that, he'd always hand me $1, and then I'd take $1, and then we'd play with the serial numbers. He'd say, you know, oh, I have 3 1s, and he'd say, I have, you know, 3 2s or whatever, and then it would be one of those things where it's like you'd play that and you try to get the other person to say, no, you don't, you're a fibber, you know, and then if you, theoretically, he said that if you were caught in a lie, you had to give the other person your $1, so you'd play for money, right? But this is my grandpa, and he wouldn't take my money, obviously. But I remember playing that game with him a lot, and we'd always laugh and have a good time. And one of the things that I learned at a very young age, that right away at the very beginning, it was always better to fib, because nobody's going to believe that you're lying on the very first turn. And that's one of those things that carries on into Coup for me. You know, it's like at the very first turn, you look at your 2 cards. Oh, yeah, I have a Duke. I'm taking 3 coins. You know, and the chances are, you know, nobody's going to call you out on it. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's happened a few times or somebody does, but I mean, nobody wants to, you know, lose a card right away, you know, at the very beginning of the game. And so it's stuff like that where, you know, you have to weigh the odds as far as, is it, you know, would he lie at this juncture? You know, would he be less than honest right now? You know, and it's just, I love that. I love pitting my wills against other people. You know, if you take a game that has 1,000 little mechanics and 1,000 little doodads and stuff like that, those games can be a heck of a lot of fun to play, just because the game itself has a lot going on, and it's very interesting. Like Zolkin is one of those things with the gears and the collecting the resources and trading them in for this and doing it for that, and moving your guys and drawing them. So all those little things about that game. The game itself is a lot of fun. But a game like this, it isn't so much the game as it's the fact that once the game, because it's so simple, it's the people that are at the table, not the game itself. And the game is just the facilitator for having a good time with all of your friends and family that happen to be at the table. And the fact that you get to lie to your friends and family without them getting mad at you is just an added bonus, if you will. I mean, I just can't really say enough about it. I mean, I know I'm releasing this review at the same time as Love Letter, and this is one of those things where it's like, here's 2 games that are tiny, just a bunch of cards, hardly anything to them, but are just an absolute blast to play. And I mean, I know somebody's going to ask me, which one do you like better? Do you like Coup or Love Letter better? It totally depends on my mood. I mean, this game is just one of the best fillers I've ever played in my entire life, and it could very well be the best filler I've played. You know, and I think both this and Love Letter are different enough that you can have a spot for them both on your shelf, because this game is more about lying, and Love Letter is more about being clever with your cards. So you got to kind of decide which game you want to play or which game you think you'd like more. But I can't speak highly enough for Coup. It's an amazing game. I know it's a little tough to get a hold of right now, but I would strongly suggest tracking down a copy if you like quick, fast, dirty. You know, and when I say dirty, I mean like dirty tricks. You know, like just like I said, you know, just like being able, you know, nothing more satisfying than, you know, if somebody's foolish enough. Well, no, actually, it's really nice to have an assassin to kill somebody off and paying the 3 coins, and it's even better when you just know they don't have a Contessa, but they just say, "Oh, I have a Contessa. You know, I'm blocking you," and then you say, "No, you don't." And not only do you get to kill one person, but you call them out on their lie, so you get to kill up both, and you knock them out. But there is nothing cooler in this game than pretending you have an assassin and saying, I'm paying 3 coins and I'm killing your guy off, and having nobody call you out on it. and being able to pull it off. And then at the end of the game, you're like, no, I didn't have one. You just didn't have any guts. You couldn't call me out on it, man. And that's awesome when you actually convince somebody that that eventually leads to them being kicked out of the game, and you can tell them afterwards, it's like, no, I totally bluffed your shorts off, man. Way to go, good job. And this game was made for trash talking and in a nice way, mind you. Not a rub your nose in it kind of way. But there you go. So, Coup. Awesome little game. Track it down, pick it up, buy it. You won't regret it. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them below. I'll answer those to the best of my ability. Please go to 2d6.org, who is kind enough to host my videos, as well as gamesalute.com. You can also follow me at Twitter, Undead Viking, on there. I don't do that a lot, but I am going to try to pick that up this year. I'm going to use that as much more when the mood strikes me, I guess, if you will. I'm not really all that savvy with the whole Twitter world yet, but maybe as this year progresses, that'll happen. But regardless, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. You are awesome. And have a great day. Goodbye. My daughter's walking in the room right now.
Dad? The first one.